right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call here on Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani and Paul Zeise with you tonight, and all you have to do is call the number on the Borders and Borders hotline, which is 412-575-2600. You can also tweet us at KDPomp, at Paul Zeise, and we'll start talking to you. A lot to get into today. The Steelers open up the locker room after Mike Tomlin addressed the media yesterday, and Ben Roethlisberger spoke about the upcoming matchup between the Steelers and the Patriots. And two Hall of Fame quarterbacks going at it. They've only met a few times. Tom Brady's had the better of the play, but his team has had the better of the play as well. And the combination of Belichick and Brady have been a tough one for the Steelers, and for that matter, the rest of the NFL as well. We're going to talk about that, and here to do it is Paul Zeise, outstanding columnist with the Post-Gazette and the Paul Zeise program, home of the grilled cheese sandwich on 93.7 The Fan. And Paul, when I think about New England, even though they went 8-0 at home last year, even though they've been almost unbeatable in that place, this is a different team. And I think if you're looking at a potential vulnerability of a Patriots team in Week 1, this probably would be it, because there is no Rob Gronkowski. He's retired. They really haven't adequately replaced him. They have two guys who are going to be suspended for the first couple of weeks there. Matt Lacoste is their starting tight end. Yeah, they have some talented people around, but the offensive line is kind of new and put together at the last minute. So if there is a time to catch them, this may be it. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think the last 2 years they've lost games early in the season, haven't they? I mean, the big thing with the Patriots is they're good when it's time to be good. It's the stretch run and into the playoffs. But going up there, Week 1, I think there's going to be a ring ceremony and everything else. I think it's going to be a tough assignment for the Steelers. To me, I like getting this game out of the way, because I think, Bob, there's way too much emphasis on this game every year when it's, Week 10 or 12 or 14. Now you get it out of the way, and you don't have to worry about it till the playoffs.
Meantime, on another front, Antonio Brown is at it again. Chest is making things happen out in Oakland, or making havoc happen. Whatever the case may be, he goes out today and decides to take a personal letter that was given to him by his general manager, Mike Mayock, and turn it into public fodder on his IG account, Instagram. Not only does he reveal the entire letter, which is private, he gives his own take on it, which he uses hate, like his team hates him all of a sudden. I didn't understand the cryptic message, to be honest with you, Paul. Merrill Hodge went off on him today. A lot of people have. What is going on with Antonio Brown, and how long will this marriage last?
Well, he's been a jerk for a long time. Why are we surprised by this? And here's the other thing. He's been a narcissistic jerk for a long time, and so he doesn't think the rules apply to him, Bob, period. And I think what has to happen for the Raiders is they've got to figure out how to put their foot down. And the thing is, if you're going to do it, this is the year to do it. You're not a playoff team anyway. If I was the Raiders, I'd say, listen, here's the thing. You're suspended for Week 1. And if you continue to do this kind of nonsense where you're making fun of us for trying to discipline you, and you're not showing up for things and this and that and everything, then you will be in court trying to get the rest of your money that we allegedly owe you. Because it won't be guaranteed. I'm going to void your contract, and you can get your lawyer and Drew Rosenhaus to try and come get your money.
I think
good luck.
It might come down to that.
Yeah, and good luck finding a team that wants you around.
Well, listen, if he burns this bridge, there's not going to be many others for him to go on. And then at one point, he's going to realize the damage that he had done to himself. And it's been a lot of it, and it's only going to get worse the way he's operating right now out in Oakland. So it's going to be a fascinating first week of the NFL season. Real quick, AFC North, I like the Steelers to win. I think 11-5 is reasonable. I think Cleveland will give them a battle. I think Baltimore will be a good team, but I think their quarterback limitations, and I really like Lamar Patterson as an athlete.
Jackson.
What did I say?
Patterson.
Oh, I'm thinking
former Pitt player.
Yeah, okay, Lamar Jackson as an athlete, but until he shows me on a consistent basis he can make the big throw, I'm not so sure he can.
Yep, I mean, I think that Baltimore is well coached, and they play hard, and they do all the good stuff, and I think they're really good at the details, and that gives them a chance to win close games against teams that aren't very good. That gives if you just beat the teams you're supposed to beat, Bob.
Right.
That's like 7 wins probably, you know. And then at that point, they slop together a couple more wins. They get to 9 wins. I agree with you. I think the Steelers will win the division. I think Baltimore will finish second. I know people love Cleveland. I think 2 things are going to happen with Cleveland. One, the weight of expectations are going to be too hard. I mean, too heavy on them. And 2, they got a first-year head coach
who has to deal with the weight of those
exactly. And if they go through a season, you know, where they lose 2 or 3 games in a row,
right? Now
you've got to, you know, really deal with adversity for the first time. I don't know that he's ready for that. I also think that locker room has a lot of potential for guys starting to point the fingers and meltdowns and all kinds of stuff. So to me, Baltimore and Pittsburgh have been there before. They've got coaches that have been there before. They've got a lot of players on both sides that have been there before, know how to weather storms, and know how to win.
All right, we're going to take a break on that note. We'd like to know what you think about that and other things. We'll also talk about the Pirates, who won a game tonight, but still the problems exist, and we'll update Mitch Keller from last night. We got a lot going on. Get your calls in right now, 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on Pittsburgh CW. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters, where honesty and integrity still matter.